Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name is at Phil the Payne PW or Nick Payne, and you're watching my F1 2020 My Team career mode, and obviously you're watching it with Payne Racing, of course. If you didn't check out my first video, please do now. It was at the Australian Grand Prix, of course. I did qualify in P16 and made up a few places in the race as well. I finished in P12, just narrowly missing out on points, unfortunately. And also, to be honest, I got driver of the day as well, so a huge result for the team, but no points at stake, unfortunately, as you can see there. And here we are in the main menus here of the game, and we've got a few days here where we have to fill up with activities, so I'm going to choose the marketing strategy to give a bit of time to there. And we've got a new sponsor that we can actually pick because we did so well in the Australian Grand Prix, and we're going to go with Polar here, just because I feel that Polar is given a realistic weekly goal where we can keep getting funds in, and that is just achieving a complete of 10 laps per race weekend as a team. So I think that's a good result, to be honest. So yeah, and now because we've got Polar and TriStar, we can now actually edit our car to actually have both sponsors. And to be honest, something I haven't done yet is actually edit my car since the first time you get the chance to. So I actually haven't had all the sponsors on there, being Polar and TriStar, so we're going to put more on there, fill up all the sponsor slots that we can with TriStar and Polar, and yeah, and now we could actually have a decent looking F1 car. Not that it weren't decent looking before, but now it's even better. I mean, with all the sponsors that are on it, as you can see right here, it's a beautiful car. Look at that. And something I haven't shown on the last video, due to the fact that we only got like a few choices to choose from for a teammate, and that's the driver's market. We only got Jack Aiken and maybe I think 7 others. So we're going to look through obviously the whole list of the drivers, and as you can see the driver's rating as I quickly skim through it, and you can see most of the mid-level drivers are all around the 80 mark, and it goes all the way down, and this is where you can see every single driver that you can use on the game, and that's including all the F2 drivers, as you're about to see now, because I never got to see Nick de Vries rating as it's 63, and you've got like Antoine Hubert there, Joshua King, Callum Ilott, Luca Gatto shows, Seta Camara, Alessi, and you've got all there, Mick Schumacher of course, and you go down, and I weren't expecting him to be on there. Manavir Raghunathan as a 45. Maybe I should just get him in for the bants. I think that would be a quite nice episode just to see how he gets on. But we're going to stick with Jack Aiken, and we're going to see how we get on in the race. And obviously, but first we've got qualifying. Here now in qualifying, of course, here at the Bahrain Grand Prix, and it's a good start, and as we go through the first corner, I say it's a good start. We get held up by Lando Norris as he's coming out of the pits, and he finally lets us through just after turn 2, of course, and that, let's hope that that hasn't actually slowed our race or that our lap completely down. Hopefully we've still got a chance of getting a good lap here as we go through turn 6 and 7 now, and if that has slowed us down, then maybe that's a reality check that we needed, to be honest, considering in the first lap of the Australian Grand Prix I did qualify P2, which did end up becoming a P6 in Q1, so it was a successful qualifying session. Obviously in the second qualifying session I did get P16, but then I didn't improve on it, so I did get knocked out. So we are looking to bounce back, of course, as we come round the final corners of sector 2, trying to get as much power as we go a bit wide there, and there's a good apex there as we go full power on the throttle, try to get as much power down this back straight as we can, see if we can get see if we can get a P2 again here in qualifying, see if we can get as much out of this car as we possibly can as we look to open DRS wide open. Count, what's it going to be? Oh my god, it's P2 again. It's P2 again here in qualifying, so we're not going to go for another lap. And as you can see, it ends up being a P6, so we are through in qualifying 1. Now, what can we see we can get from qualifying 2? And as we go through our first lap, and we're going to set a lap time which is equal to a P5 now. P5, and that's a good first lap, to be honest. And that's the initial lap, but obviously cars do come out and do their laps, which drops us down to P10, unfortunately. But that just means we're going to have to go back out again. And when we do go back out again, we're down into P11, unfortunately. One of the cars that was below us has now overtaken us, and this is our last chance to actually get a better time as we go around the corner quite slowly, to be honest. And we get full on the power, see if we can get as much out of the car. DRS open, what's it going to be? And it's P9, we're through to qualify 3. Through to Q3, that means Bottas has knocked out. One of the Mercedes has been knocked out due to us. As we go through on our first lap, and we can only achieve a P10, unfortunately, here, as now the cars have started to speed up. And we go through, we've improved our time, as you can see, quite a few tenths of a second. And where's it going to be? Can we improve our position as well as our time? P10 into, and unfortunately for us, we stay in P10. And now we're going to see how we get on in the race.
We're here again then at a circuit famous for its stunning visuals and thrilling battles for glory. Who will take the spotlight in the Bahrain Grand Prix today? Formula One returns to the desert today on this exceptional 3.36 mile circuit. 15 corners provide plenty of overtaking opportunities. It could be a strategic race, this one, with Sakhir notorious for eating up the rear tyres. Watch out for drivers managing their rubber at some points during the Grand Prix. Joining us today to oversee all the thrills and spills, it's Anthony Davidson. And great to see you. How are you feeling about the race today, and how are the circuit conditions from what you've seen?
Well, it's looking a bit cold out there, if I'm honest. These tyres have quite a narrow operating window in terms of the temperatures they need to extract the best grip. So with a cold track surface, it's going to be harder to keep those temperatures up, which will lead to lower grip and maybe more mistakes.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Albon, Hamilton, Sebastian Vettel and Sainz, Ricciardo, Stroll, Perez and the rookie, Bottas, Norris, Esteban Ocon and Raikkonen, Kvyat, Magnussen, Pierre Gasly and Antonio Giovinazzi, Grosjean, Russell, Aitken and Nicholas Latifi. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
And as you can see, we're in P10. Valtteri Bottas is behind us, and as you can see, we've got a two-stop strategy regardless of what we choose to do. We're going to overfuel the car by a lap, but we're going to stick to the soft, medium, pitting in lap 5 and lap 17 and see what we can get out of this car as we go up down onto the grid. And it's 5 red lights and we're underway. It looks like a slow start, to be honest, as Stroll even has a worse one than us. Perez blinding down the inside or the outside of the track as we just look to follow him around and hopefully pick to the same position as him. As we get past Stroll now, make that move work as he's now behind us as we go through into turn 3, should I say. And it looks like Ricciardo's eyeing up a move now on Carlos Sainz. And we go into the gap because he don't want it. And we dive down the inside of all 3 drivers. Little bit of contact on the exit of turn 3. And we're up 4 places to P6 now. Here on lap 1 we're already out 4 places as we've got Vettel just up ahead. As he's trying to pull away, we're trying to hold on to him. See if we can keep it in distance, as he's already pulled out a 1.2 second gap as we go round turn 10, and he's just going to pull out even more of a gap. It's 1.5 now as Carlos Sainz is right on our tail. Can we keep in touch with Vettel? To be honest, I'm not too much focused on that. It's just keeping the cars behind at this point, because I didn't expect to be up 4 places at this point, but it's a great start from us at Payne Racing as we're up into P6, and we've got a great chance of getting some points here if we can keep hold of it as we come through into the last couple of turns here on lap 1. That is such a great start. I can't believe my luck, as Max Verstappen obviously is at the front of the grid as he sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, as we've got Vettel still ahead, Sainz behind, Ricciardo just behind him, Perez behind him, as we go through each turn just looking to get each lap done. I still can't believe my luck here on lap 2, and we're pulling away from Sainz, so it looks to be, as we brake late and we go deep into the corner actually, as we try to get the car on the wraps, and Sainz is going to catch us here as he's pulling the gap closer and closer. He's very close to us now. He's on our tail. He can smell our gearbox practically as we go deep into another corner, and that is just going to allow Sainz to be right on the attack now, right on the offences as we go into turn 10, and we actually make contact. He goes into the back of us as we sort of slow the car down to go through turn 10, and he's possibly going to have some front wing damage there as we go through here on into lap 2 at the end of sector 2. And Sainz, I'm surprised he hasn't been overtaken there, to be honest, if he has got front wing damage, as we go round. Oh, and there you go. The chief engineer said that they're struggling, they can't keep up the pace, so that maybe he has got front wing damage. As we are here on lap 3, and there's yellow flags up ahead, the car's going slowly. Who's it going to be as we come through turn 6, and there's smoke up ahead? Who is it? And it's Lewis Hamilton, the leader Mercedes, is out of this race now due to some engine trouble, most likely, as the smoke is coming out of his car, and Lewis Hamilton is out of this Bahrain Grand Prix. Hugely disappointing for the Mercedes team and Toto Wolff now, as we look to advance on in P5, of course. Still in P5 as we go deep into that corner, and that's just going to allow Daniel Ricciardo to come at us as we go through turn 16, or turn 6 should I say, and turn 7, as we look to go through turn 8, hopefully a bit better than we have done, and we're through. But Ricciardo is right on our tail now as we're going slowly through each turn, and we go slowly through turn 10, and he tries going through the outside. We go park the car down the centre. Great defensive driving, if I do say so myself. That's going to actually allow Perez to maybe get the jump on Daniel Ricciardo now. He goes down the inside of Ricciardo, and he's actually made the move work. Perez is now up to P6 as Ricciardo drops down to P7, and we are still in P5, getting a nosebleed up this far ahead of the Grand Prix. And we're still here in P5 on lap 5, and we've got Sergio Perez to deal with now. Sergio Perez to defend against. We've had to defend against Ricciardo, we've had to defend against Sainz, and now it's our turn to defend against the pink Mercedes of Sergio Perez as we go deep into turn 8, and there's a bit of contact, and Sergio Perez has spun out. Sergio Perez has spun out. He went for the dive, as you would. He saw the gap, he went for the gap, and as we started to accelerate out of turn 8, we hit his tyre, and now he's spun out. And unfortunately, he's at the back of the grid now. He's right at the very back. I think there's 1 or 2 cars behind him, but that is it. And now we just got to settle down, and we're coming into the pits. Hopefully we ain't got any damage to our car. That'd be devastating if there was, but we just got to come through now here on lap 5, going to the pits. Thankfully there's quite a bit of a second, just over a second, or just under a second gap, should I say, to Daniel Ricciardo, but he will overtake us. Him and Bottas, of course, as he's made the most of that. Bottas, who's from P11 now into P7, as we come into the pits, and a load of cars just one by one, as car after car after car just overtake us as we go into the pits. Obviously it's out of sync, of course, because they'll still have to pit. Most of them will be on a one-stop strategy though, because they'll be starting on that mediums, going to the hards. As we come out of the pits now, and it looks like Perez and Sainz are the only cars behind us. Where are we going to come out? Is Perez going to be in front of us? And Perez will, side by side, and Perez is just in front of us. So the car that's spun out due to us accelerating and hitting their tyre is now ahead of us once again. Thankfully they've still got to make a pit stop. As we have a little look there, unfortunately not enough. And we're here on lap 6 now, as we're still trying to make the overtake on Sergio Perez, trying to not use up all the fuel, not use up all the overtake mode, as we squeeze a little bit out of the car just to see if we can make a move. In the end we decide to brake as he parks it down the middle, and this is where we're going to make the move with DRS. We go to overtake mode, DRS wide open, rich mix engage, we look down the inside, we switch it to the right, we sold him a dummy, and we made the move work, and we're up another place now with a great overtake on Sergio Perez now, here in P19 at the end of the start of lap 7. And we're here coming around the last couple of corners of lap 7 now, and there's looks to be a few cars in the pits, and yes, I am right there in saying it's Kimi Räikkönen and Daniel Ricciardo. So we're up another 2 places now here into P17, and we've got Latifi and Russell, the 2 Williams, up ahead. Of course we're looking to make a move on Latifi here at the end of lap 8, see if we can make a move work. We're not gonna make the move too early. We're going to make the move there, dive down the inside into the final corner, and then we've got DRS wide open as well from Latifi, and this is where we can pull away with overtake mode, of course. And look at the gap of the clean air and the DRS. We're just strolling away from Latifi there, and now we're in pursuit of the other Williams in Russell. Here at lap 10 now, can we make a move on Russell? We've got Jack Aitken just in front of him. We don't want to obviously dive down the inside and make contact with Jack Aitken, so we've got to be careful here. But we're lining up the move, we make the move, and we nearly hit Jack Aitken as he slowed through that corner. Thankfully we didn't. It was literally a few millimetres apart from our front wing to his back wing, and thankfully we haven't made contact with him. But now that's just given me the oversight, the sight that the fact of the matter is that I can't make contact with Jack Aitken. I have to make sure that this pass is as clean as possible, as clean as I can make it, as we're practically pushing, we are pushing Jack Aitken through each corner. We've got to make the move work as quickly as possible, otherwise he will slow us down. So we make the dive there at turn 13, and we made the move work, and now we're up another place, and we're up into P13 now, as we're looking to overtake Magnussen here. Can we make it into P12 before lap 11? We've got DRS, and we're going to use it. We've got rich mix engage, overtake mode. We look to the outside, there's no gap there. We go to the inside, he squeezes us close to the wall, and we're just going to brake and brake steadily, and there's the move. We're up another place now as we're up into P12, trying to catch up to all the cars ahead, and we've got Giovinazzi next. And now there's a 0.8 second gap to Giovinazzi just ahead as we go through turn 10 now. We've got DRS obviously down this back straight. Can we catch up to him? We're not going to be able to in a position to make a move on him, or can we? Is he's going slow? We're having a look. Can we make a move to the inside? No. So we just pull out of the move, brake late or brake early, and just try to line up a better exit, and this is where we've got it. And now, as he's going slow, we've got overtake, little bit of overtake, squeeze it, and we're side by side with with Giovinazzi, and we just about make the move work. We're careful not to over brake ourselves and go into the sand trap, but the only problem now is Giovinazzi will have DRS on us. Can Giovinazzi come back at us and make a move of his own with DRS? He's gaining, but unfortunately for him, and thankfully for us even, that it's not going to work, and we're still in P11 for the time being. Here on lap 13 now, we've got Grosjean just up ahead now, going into lap 14 of course, and Grosjean's gone into the pits, and there's a load of other cars in the pits, Ocon, Norris, Gasly, and we've got Bottas up ahead, and Bottas, who started in P11, has gone for an overcut strategy, and it's paid dividends here, as he started on the medium tyres, he's now on the hards, and he's now in front of us with a fresh pair of hard tyres. We're up into P7, Bottas in P6. Can we overtake him? As we're into lap 14 now, going into lap 15, and as you can see, Danny Kvyat is in the pits, so there's another place, and we're up into P16 now, or P6 should I say, not P16, as we go onto lap 15. What a bizarre Grand Prix. And we're down the main straight again here on lap 15, and Sebastian Vettel is in the pits, so we go up another place into P5, obviously out of sync, so he will get that position back. But we're up in P5, and Verstappen's up ahead in the pits. We're overtaking Verstappen now. Oh, he has a look, but we've got the move worked, we've got the move done, and we're in front of Verstappen now as we're coming into the pits now. As you saw on the teleprompter, that we're coming in to box for a new set of medium tyres, as we've got Verstappen behind us. We're not going to battle him too hard because he's going to get the move done eventually when we go into the pits anyway, but we're not going to just let him through as we go through turn 6 and 7 now, and Verstappen's right on our tail, and he's caused us to make a mistake as we go deep into turn 8, and that's where Verstappen can go through. Thankfully he didn't knock into our front wing, that would have been catastrophic, and in fact I think that's worked out for the better, as Verstappen's gone ahead. He's given us the ability to get DRS now that we wouldn't have had before, and we're just going to use DRS and let Verstappen drag us along for the last sectors of this lap. And as we're coming into the pits anyway, it doesn't really matter, he would have overtaken us anyway, so we're just going to let Verstappen, as we go wide there, as the tyres are completely off, we're just going to let Verstappen line us through, just drag us through each turn as we use his slipstream to the best that we can. As we come into the pits now here on lap 17, we're currently in P5 of course, we was P4, now in P5. Let's see how many cars do overtake us whilst we're in the pits, that we're going to obviously have to re-overtake, as Vettel obviously has gone through. We're on a different strategy to them. Norris, Ricciardo now gone through, Raikkonen looking like he's coming through, and there's Raikkonen and Ocon. Gasly and Kvyat looking like they're about to come through as well, and yep, that's Gasly and Kvyat. So we're coming out in front of Grosjean here in P12. We've gone in P5, back out in P12, so in reality that's what we've got to settle with now. Great chance to get some points on the board. And we're into turn 14, going into turn 15 here on lap 18, and there it is, Daniel Ricciardo, Kimi Raikkonen, both in the pits, and that's another 2 places, as now we've got a point on the board theoretically as we're in P10 now. Can we hold on? Can we get better? Can we overtake some more cars here on lap 19? And we're going into the end of lap 19 into lap 20 now. We've got DRS wide open on Danny Kvyat. We're not going to be in a position where we can overtake him, so we're just going to park the car directly behind him and just get the DRS for the next zone, and just hopefully we can overtake him here as we get the DRS wide open. Rich Mix engaged, bit of overtake, not too much. We need some from the rest of the corner. We have a little look, but unfortunately he cuts us off, and we didn't want to come into him and spin out just like Perez did to us. And we're here on lap 20 now, about to head into turn 13, and we make a huge dive bomb, late braking, and there's another position, and there's Danny Kvyat that's up, and now we're into an ALPHATAURI sandwich as we've got Gasly up ahead, Danny Kvyat just behind, and we're looking to make a move on Pierre Gasly now as we've got DRS on him, Rich Mix engaged, a little bit of overtake to use, and we pulled a gap on Kvyat, but can we make a move on Pierre Gasly here as we look, and when we look to be just out of range unfortunately, so we're going to have a little look, see if, and he brake checks us. He actually brake checks us, and now Pierre Gasly's pulled out a huge gap after brake checking us. We've got DRS again, but it's not going to be of use because we're not going to be anywhere near him to make a move, as we're literally just going to have to park the car directly behind him for another few turns unfortunately as we go through turn 6, and he brake checks again, whether it's just these tyres that are giving way as we can't be holding behind him for too much longer. And there we go, we make the move here on lap 21 down in turn 8, and now we're up into P8 as we slow the car down through P10 or turn 10, and Gasly's hit us, and that's catastrophic. That's going to cost us a lot of seconds here, a lot more seconds for Gasly and Kvyat, as Gasly's most likely giving damage to himself, possibly damage to Kvyat behind him, and that's going to cost us massively as we're looking to catch Esteban Ocon again, ahead, and we're up into P8. But is that all we can get now, as we've lost a lot of time here? An 8.4 second gap down into 1.1 second gap here on lap 26 now. We've caught up to Esteban Ocon, regardless of Gasly and Kvyat tripping us up earlier on lap 21. And we're just trying to see if we can make a move here on lap 27. We've finally got DRS. We've closed the gap now to under a second. We're not going to be in a position where we can overtake him, but we're in a position where we can get the car directly behind him and maybe make a move just like we have done on Russell, just like we did on Gasly. But he does pull away just enough. It looks unlikely here as we go through the corner, but it's unlikely. It's not going to happen. And we're here on lap 27 as we go through into sector 3 now, and we're still in P8 with Ocon up ahead. Not many laps left to go in this Grand Prix as we look to still try to catch Norris in P6 of course, as we've got DRS wide open, overtake mode, Rich Mix engaged. Can we overtake Ocon here on lap 28? We go to the outside and just roll the car through, braking late, give Ocon the room down the inside on turn 1 as we make the move work, and we're up into P7 now. Huge result this would be, but can we get P6? That's what we're after. Can we get P6? It's going to be a huge result regardless, but we've got Norris up ahead. It's a 2-second gap. And we're coming through the last corner, approaching the last lap of this Grand Prix, final lap of this 29 lap race here in Sakhir, in Bahrain. Can we catch Norris on this last lap? It's a 1.9 second gap currently. Can we close it? Can we overtake him? And unfortunately it's unlikely that we can, as it's a 1.2 second gap now. As we come through the last corner, Valtteri Bottas goes from P11 to P1 to win the race. As we come across the checkered flag in P7 with Payne Racing's first couple of points in the season in ever. What a result for Payne Racing, and it's a great drive for Valtteri Bottas, who's fully deserving of driver of the day from P11 to P1. Great result for Mercedes team there, especially after Hamilton, who was in charge of the race, has crashed out.
How did they manage to achieve this win?
Well, Crofty, this was won through an abundance of speed and an abundance of skillful overtakes. Inside, outside, cutting underneath, we saw it all today. And it's really nice to see a Grand Prix won in that manner. A race surely that will satisfy the purists today, I think.
Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again.
And obviously we've got quite a few points there. How many points is it? Obviously we finished in P7, so it's a total of 6 points now that we've got in this World Drivers' Championship. Obviously I'm not looking forward to getting into the title picture. That's not what I'm looking for here. But I mean, as we got P7, that's a huge result for the Constructors' Championship for Payne Racing. I think that's a great result, and that's going to give us a lot of energy and a lot of power going forward, and hopefully a lot of momentum to push on and maybe get a few more as we look there. And we're into P9 in the Drivers' Championship, currently P9, joint P9 shall I say, with Carlos Sainz. Of course, he finished in P7 in the last race, but finished quite low down this race. As we look down, and Jack Adkins in front of both Williams cars in P20. What's it going to be in the Constructors' Championship? It's P6. We're up into P6. We're middle of the pack of all the constructors, and that's going to wrap up this video on a positive note. If you have liked it, please like it, please subscribe, please comment on all your thoughts down below. I've been at Feel the Pain PW. Thank you for enjoying. Goodbye.